Hey friends, Rebecca here. Hey, and I've got an idea for you. If you need to jumpstart your creativity, look for these Tempera Paint pens. They are so cool. They're geared for kids, but the colors are just so luscious and fun to work with, and they're vibrant and they dry quickly, and they look so good on smooth paper. So just some copy paper or notebook sheets here, and the colors will layer on top of each other. And then once they are totally dry, which just takes about a minute or so, then you can use a regular ballpoint pen on top of them. And I've even used some like colored pencils on top and some gel pens and some other things. Here they are swatched out with all the different colors in this set. And again, they're just so much fun to doodle with. I know you might not be a doodler, but it's just, definitely you can unleash your creativity using these. So check them out. You can get different size sets, and they're really pretty inexpensive. I found these at Barnes & Noble for half off. At our local bookstore. So they look great on smooth paper, but here in my sketchbook it's a little bit rougher paper, and they still look good, but you could definitely go over it multiple times to get it nice and smooth looking. And again, they dry quickly. It doesn't transfer from page to page. Once it's dry, you can layer them. And then here I actually use a water brush to pull out some of the color. So as soon as you lay it down, if you use your water brush, you will be able to get some of the water out and smooth it. But once it's dry, like this blue Create was already dry, and so it didn't really transfer any of that color with the water brush. But so much fun to use. And of course, I had to try it on leather. And so the colors lay down nicely. It covers really well. And here I did it actually on top of white, so that yellow looks really vibrant. And they look really nice, and they dry really quickly. But the one caveat is they are not water resistant. So I poured some water over the leather, and of course it's going to come off probably completely if I keep putting water on it. And so that's the one drawback. But I think I found a solution. If you use polyacrylic, I was out of super sheen, so I've been using polyacrylic, and a couple of layers of polyacrylic will then make them water resistant. So I even put the polyacrylic on this pink one before I lasered it, and then that way after it's finished lasering, I can use a damp cloth to get the soot marks off without messing up the color. And so these are just so much fun. I've been trying a couple of different techniques with this on leather. And so stick around, and I'm going to show you some more of the process video of working with these Tempera Paint Sticks on leather. Alright, so here's my first attempt. I took some colors that I thought looked good together, these quick stick Tempera Paint Sticks, and used it on some natural vegetable tanned leather and just a random pattern here. And these feel like lipstick when you draw with them. They're so cool, and the colors are so vibrant and luscious. And so I just put that together. It dries super fast, and I found a pattern that I thought would go well with these colors. And it says, adventure, explore more, worry less. So good words to live by there. And so I took it over to the laser, and I've got this pattern that I've used for a couple of keychains already. I did cover it in masking tape before I did the lasering, and it came out pretty nice. But again, there's a lot of soot on here, and normally I just take this to the sink and wash leather off directly, but couldn't do that since this paint is not water resistant. So once I got all the tape off, that was pretty much it. I did try to get some of the soot off, but it was taking off the color with it, so I'm kind of stuck. So it doesn't look nice and clean like normally the engravings do when you get rid of all the markings, and so that is the one downfall. So to try to overcome that, I did take this and then apply 3 coats of polyacrylic to it, and so I think the polyacrylic is going to be the key, and that will definitely make it more water resistant. Okay, and here's my second trial. again, the vegetable tanned leather, and found some other colors that go well together. And then here's just the process to show you just how neatly these cover. Again, that's just like using lipstick, and they don't smear, it doesn't smudge. Again, it dries really, really quickly, and you can kind of layer up some color to get the effect that you want. So here I am using just this basic pale pink, and then coming in with some of the darker pink just to add some texture. And then the shimmer color there, in this particular kit there was a gold shimmer and a silver shimmer, and they're so pretty whenever you layer it on top of other colors. But just going back in and getting some more building of the color just to make it look neater and a little bit more depth to it. And just look how pretty that is. Again, it's already dry, and so it's very clean and easy to work with. And then again, to help get these water resistant, I'm using polyacrylic, and I've ended up doing about 2 or 3 layers. Now you have to be very, very careful with this first layer. Go really quickly and don't press down hard, because again, the color could come off. And so some of it did come off. You'll see some speckled marks, but just get a nice generous layer and lay it down very quickly and lightly. And then let that dry, and then you can come back with 1 or 2 more coats of it. So the polyacrylic, of course, is very nice. I also use a lot of super sheen for leather. It's definitely geared towards leather. It's much more flexible, I think. But this polyacrylic seems to be working just fine. So here's kind of that final piece there with the colors, and it just looks so pretty. Here in this up-close view, you can see some of these spots where some of that color did come off whenever I first laid down the polyacrylic. But that's okay. I don't mind, since it doesn't show too much. And again, it's hard to get the polyacrylic nice and smooth, so you will have some streak marks, but just try to minimize those as best you can. I'm sure a spray polyacrylic would work great. Alright, so here we are at the laser, and I thought I had everything just set perfect. Had it taped down with some masking tape to avoid some soot. But you can see once I get into this here, I was very bummed out because I had it too far to the right. So my piece of leather is not big enough to get the full engraving. So, and then also the moon shapes did not transfer very well. They were too light in the image. So I did end up making a second pink keychain to try to fix all those issues. So definitely making sure that my leather was positioned correctly, and then I readjusted the image so that those moon phases would be darker. Played around with my settings a little bit, so I got a little less charring the second time. And then I was able to wash it off since it already had the polyacrylic on it. So all in all, I think my second pink one came out just fine. And so I just think these are so lovely. So try this out. I don't know that I've seen anybody else try tempera paint on leather yet. So I hope you've enjoyed this and found it helpful. So be sure to hit like and subscribe. Thanks so much.